Kerry, this Seattle team is quite a solid team. I mean, I'm just curious for you, looking back at the first match between the two. What do you guys learn from that? What do you take away from that game that you can apply on Sunday?
Well, I think and Seattle's always had a great organization. They've had a lot of great teams over the years. I think this year, coming off of that summer competition that they had playing against some of the best teams in the world, they entered our space and the game with a lot of confidence, belief, and continuity within the group. And we saw that firsthand. I think they're a better possession team than they have been in previous years, and they have a lot of really good players, despite the fact that they've interchanged a lot. And so that's a credit to their coaching staff, what they've done to create a really cohesive group. And so, like every time you go to Seattle, you're going to expect a very good team in a very good environment, and we'll have to be very good to get a result.
Over the years, you guys have had some kind of famous wins there. I mean, what does it take to win up there, especially in that environment?
I think when you go there, you have to, not different from any other game, but you have to play every roll of the ball. You have to be concentrated and locked in. I do think that the environment does allow itself to create more energy for the away team as well. And so the intensity of the game, the speed of the game usually has a little bit higher level to it. And so we're excited for that opportunity.
Kind of shifting gears here a second. Just, I mean, inside the building, it seems like things have been somewhat thin in terms of staff, from the coaching staff to front office staff. I mean, you just talk about how you guys have kind of been able to kind of keep the ball rolling and still kind of take those steps forward and progress, maybe for the whole project, and kind of getting this club back as you've talked about it. How do you feel like you guys have been handling that and accomplishing some of the steps along the way?
Well, I think that it's no secret that we're in a transition period within the club, just like every club in the world in the history has gone through. And so we're in that transitional period. But what I've said before is that although we're thin, we're not short on ideas, commitment, or determination of trying to be a better version of ourselves. And so we have an obligation, a responsibility to try to push this club in an upward trajectory. And I think from a cultural standpoint and an application standpoint, we've done that. And so maybe the results haven't been as quick or as fast as what we would all have liked, but I do know internally that the group is determined. I know the group shows up every day, and I've referenced this before, both internally and publicly, is that you need to understand the things that you can control and the things you can't control. And so I think within the things that we can control, I believe that we've done an outstanding job.
What is harder for a coaching staff when you don't have maybe as many coaches or other technical people behind you that you would hope to have? How much harder is it?
There is a challenge from the perspective that you're not able to accomplish all of the things in all the detail that you'd like to. But I've never really tried to operate from the limiting factor of what do we not have. And so I try to focus on the positives of what we do have. And as I referenced before, we have an incredibly committed group of people in this building. And when you add to that the players and their commitment and their determination of what they've shown, we've come up short from time to time, but I don't think we've ever come up short in our determination. But at the end of the day, to be a high-performance organization and club, you have to commit to furthering your resources. And as I said, we're in a transition period right now, and we will get better, and we have an ambition to be one of the great clubs of the league again, in which we were in the past. And I can see that happening. It's in small steps, but I can see that happening.
Again, I know the first priority is, as long as you're alive, is you still focus on making the playoffs, but at times you're also looking at players saying that, you know, you have to now make sure you're showing that you want to be here for next year, have to do whatever you need to do. But is that kind of the same for you at this point? Is that you need to make your mark that you still want to be here for next year?
I don't think the answer needs to be whether I've given everything to the club or my position, and I don't really worry about that aspect of it. As I referenced before, some of the things you can't get accomplished just based on manpower right now, which leaves very little time to think of other things. And so my determination is trying to get the group ready for Seattle, and I know it's such a short, focused approach, but that's what it takes to get something accomplished, certainly with what we have at the moment. And I don't speak from the the position of lack. I speak from the position of having a great opportunity, another great opportunity to show up today and be the best version of just not only myself, but try to inspire the collective to be the best versions of themselves.
As we look at Seattle, it feels like their fans and the atmosphere there's always a little more juice when Kansas City comes to town. Just, with the Tim Melia incident, with a number of situations that have happened in Seattle. Do you still feel like that's kind of the case with their fan base? There's a little bit more juice in these games?
I think maybe if there is, it's a tribute to the history that the clubs have had and some of the great games that we've both been involved in. You've seen that with a few of the teams around the league, and as the history of the league continues to grow and the success of the organization, certainly what we've had in the past has lent to a lot of emotional confrontations, and I think Seattle is one of those. You can't take what's from the past and bring it into today's game, but certainly when you walk into the stadium, a lot of memories show up, and you remember a lot of the competitions and the battles that we faced. And what I will say about Seattle is they operate from a position of excellence, and so whenever you go into a competition with them, I don't think they're treating us with any sort of heightened emotions. I think they just compete extremely well.
Just checking in this week. Tommy seems like he's been training. Is he still good to go for this weekend?
He won't be good to go for this weekend. He is training. He's involved. He's still a little ways away in terms of his fitness, but we're still taking him even day by day and understanding how he's feeling. I wouldn't say he's 100% to go, but he's out there training, which probably 90%. But I don't think he's prepared to enter the game this weekend.
Okay, and then Manu Garcia and Logan Dembe.
Logan's back with the group as of right now today. Seems like he's not suffering from any sort of residual from the injury that he had previously. Manu's still not on the field and in training, so he'll be missed this weekend.
Jake, you guys have put together, I know the results haven't come, but you guys have put together some really solid moments, especially in that first half against Orlando. Just how did you guys kind of create that moment and that stretch of dominance, and how do you kind of find ways that you can continue to keep building off of that?
I think our stretch of dominance and good performance started before the Orlando's first half. I think against San Diego, we put together a good performance, even though the result didn't go our way. And then in Orlando, I think there's multiple factors, but we also did go down pretty early. I mean, very early. And I'm not saying this is the case every time, but usually when a team goes down, you start to, you play different. You don't think about what if, you just do. And I think Zoe and I did a good job, taking the game, and just kind of directing it and controlling the tempo. And then I think that obviously gave us a good chance in the first half. In the second half, I think Orlando changed the way they were playing, and they stopped me and Zoe from getting the ball, which was, it's okay. I mean, we have to adapt as well, but Orlando's a good team. They're very attacking, and they just kind of scraped together 2 goals to take the lead. But, the last 2 games, I don't think the result has gone our way, but the performances has been positive, and I think that's important for us. And, we're always trying to be optimistic and take the positive out of things, and I think, in terms of performances, we're growing.
What do you think is like the next step to help take that performance to kind of a 90-minute complete performance?
Yeah, I just think that it's focus, it's staying balanced, there's a lot of factors. I think that, we have the capability to win. We just kind of have to dig deeper, and, it's little moments that we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot, and that's not against one person. I think it's kind of the same story as the past year or two. We have little moments where we lose concentration and we punish ourselves. It's not like San Diego broke us down and destroyed us and scored a goal. It's not like when Orlando scored their goals, they had completely broken our pressure and just like made us look like we weren't out there. I think we kind of do it to ourselves, and I think that's the mental focus that I'm talking about. I think we just need to go out there and, know the moments that we're in danger and know the moments when we can play. And it's not always going to be perfect, But if we focus on those problems and try to capitalize on not making those mistakes, then that gives ourselves a better chance to win.
What makes Seattle a tough opponent?
They're super well organized. I mean, you guys saw when they came here earlier in the year. They're super well organized. They have a very balanced team. I'd say they have depth as well. Every player, they know their role, confident on the ball. They're in a good run of form. I mean, they're overall just a solid team that can play. They can attack. They're one in defending, and it's going to be a hard game. But I think just as we just played San Diego and Orlando, those were tough games. But we kind of showed out and can use kind of like the underdog mentality. I think these teams come. They know they're going to play against us, and maybe we're not having the most strong season, but I don't know. Anything can happen in an MLS game, and I think if we go in there with the right attitude, we can come out with something special.
And then what makes Zoe such a good partner in midfield?
Nothing. No, I think we complement each other. I think Zoe's really strong defensively and very, very simple on the ball, which is good for us. I think we don't have a lot of guys. We don't have a guy that can break a play up and run 30 yards back to stop something and then complete a pass forward or secure the ball. And I think, we do that together. And I think you saw in Orlando when we have time on the ball, when we have the ball, when we can break up plays, it makes a difference for us in the game. And I think him and I, even at the end of last year in the Open Cup final and the games before that, we kind of showed that we're a good match. And I think him and I have the same attitude, just one game at a time, leaving everything out there. And I think that's all you can ask from us, and we'll give it to you.
Jake, as you've kind of grown as a player and as an individual, I'm sure your role has kind of shifted on this team. I guess, how do you see yourself like as a leader, and what type of leader do you think you are?
I don't know. I think that every day in training I leave everything out there, and I don't know. I think the best way I can put it is maybe I lead by example. I'm not probably the most vocal guy. I don't know how often I'm giving everyone instructions on the field, but I think that when I'm in practice, when I'm in the game, what I'm trying to do is leave everything out there and giving my utmost, focus and attention to what goes on in the game and practice. And I don't know if I'm being a leader in that aspect, but I'm just trying to do my best. And I think that when you're trying your hardest, giving your best, and trying to keep your quality high, it's contagious. And I think that's kind of what happened against Orlando. I'm just saying this because Zoe is sitting right next to you. But, Zoe and I had done a good job of breaking up plays and going forward and keeping the right passes and going forward with the right passes. And I think it wasn't just him and I that had a good first half. I think the whole team were making the right plays, making the right runs. And what I'm saying is that stuff is contagious. And so I don't know if, I'm a leader by whatever that is, communication and talking to people, but I think when certain guys on the team have a lot of focus, it's contagious.
And then with 8 games remaining this season, it feels like, task number 1 for you guys is still making the playoffs. But, that task B, task C, what kind of things are you guys looking at in the final 8 games?
I think, well, of course, it's always to win. I don't know, it's like we're just taking one game at a time. And I always say this to you guys, but that's all we can do. I think it's a good goal to have, obviously, to make the playoffs. That's always at the top of the chart. That's always in the back of our heads. But we can't go to Seattle think, okay, we're going to make the playoffs by winning this game. That's not going to happen. I think we have to take one game at a time and give ourselves the best opportunity to win each game, which is going to training every day, being focused. What are we going to do in the game? Making sure everyone knows their role, and then trying our best to execute that. And if we do that, then we're giving ourselves the best opportunity to go win in Seattle and then go win the 2 games at home after that. And I think that's all we can do.